Well, all of this serious talk has got me very eager to talk about something, a lot less serious. Patreon losing.
Ooh, yeah.
Now, while we can talk about real war and chaos and conflict in China, let's talk about culture war. For those that aren't familiar, Patreon is a subscription service. Most of you probably heard of it. It is a big tech run by a company run by far leftists. They believe all this crazy intersectional stuff, like most of these companies do. And they banned a bunch of moderates, conservatives, right individuals. I don't know exactly what to call these people because I'm not going to use false labels on people I don't know. They banned them for hate speech. Some of these were completely, in my opinion, BS. Notably, Sargon of Akkad. You may know Sargon. So he had a Patreon account. I believe he was getting around $10,000 per month from his patrons.
Pretty solid.
Yeah, people choosing to give him money. Well, some activists dug up a 9-month-old live stream of him at the time. It was very old. And at the 2-hour mark in a 4-hour stream, he used the N-word ironically to insult people he thought were racist in a way that he thought would offend them.
Okay.
Someone sent that clip to Patreon and they banned his account without warning. And they had already promised before they would never ban people without warning, right?
Right.
They were supposed to be like, hey, don't do this again. So it wasn't on Patreon. It didn't violate their rules, but they banned him anyway, destroying his income.
Wow.
Now, another user of Patreon, Owen Benjamin, who, according to the Daily Dot, they call him far right. They call him whatever. I really don't know anything about the guy. He got banned for hate speech, except he filed an arbitration claim against Patreon, and so did a whole bunch of he told his patrons to do the same thing. This would have made Patreon front millions of dollars in legal costs. So Patreon sued his patrons.
Wait. Before they sued back, didn't they change their TOS?
Yes. They changed their terms on January 1st.
They all Patreon got sued.
They got told there was going to be an action against them.
Oh, okay. So they were prepared.
So then
changed
on the first,
their TOS.
And guess what? The new term said that if you stay on this platform, then you agree to the terms,
yeah,
which is unenforceable.
Right.
So then on the 6th, apparently they filed arbitration claims. Patreon tried arguing they have to pay the costs according to the terms of the website. They argued, no, we don't, because we're making claims against you based on the terms as we signed up. Patreon filed a lawsuit against the fans to stop them because this will destroy Patreon. And Patreon lost that motion. So now we are entering what may be one of the greatest get woke, go broke stories of all time.
Wow.
Patreon trying to enact these woke social justice rules may result in a massive multi-million-dollar Silicon Valley startup going belly up, but it also means all of the left-wing channels on the platform that rely on Patreon for their income will lose all of their income overnight.
Yep.
This is going to be man, I don't know how to describe it. There's a big battle going on. And there's a massive bridge, a collapse on everyone falls off of it.
Wow.
Yeah, because there's right-wing people use Patreon too.
Yeah.
Take a look at this. This is a tweet from Mike Cernovich. He says, update, Patreon lost. The judge applied well-established law and denied Patreon's motion, sided against them in their lawsuit against Owen Benjamin fans. Patreon will now be forced to arbitrate 100+ claims and pay upfront fees of up to $10,000 per arbitration. Ooh. And then to drive that spike straight in, Cernovich says, Sargon of Akkad could end Patreon if he had his followers file action similar to the one Owen Benjamin fans did. That's it. That would be the end of Patreon.
Do it.
And Will Chamberlain added Lauren Southern and Milo too. Now, there's one very important point. Mike Cernovich and Will Chamberlain are both lawyers.
Oh.
So I'll take their word for it.
I didn't know that. He's a lawyer. Okay.
Yeah.
Or both of them are lawyers. Wow.
Sargon had thousands of fans on Patreon.
Yeah.
And most of them, it's my understanding, canceled their accounts when he got banned. Wow. So you can't even try and argue the new terms apply to them.
Right, because they left.
Because they left immediately before the new terms were enacted.
Wow.
Every single one of those people could now file arbitration for, I guess what Owen Benjamin's fans said was tortious interference.
I mean, even if they are still on Patreon, couldn't they?
No.
Because of this precedent?
Technically. But so I'm not going to pretend like I know. I'm not a lawyer.
Right, okay.
But my understanding is that Patreon was served notice before they changed the rules that they would be getting these claims.
Okay, so now if everyone came forward,
they would say, you're only coming forward now that you know. However, it still might go through.
Right.
Yeah, because the ruling, I guess, is you can't change now that Patreon knows they're liable for banning these people.
Mm-hmm.
The judge would probably be like, you only changed this because you knew you slighted all these people and don't want to get sued. You can't do that.
Yep, exactly.
So
no, he did say that, isn't it? Isn't that what the judge said to him?
Owen Benjamin's fans gave notice before they changed the terms.
Right. Okay.
So if now you filed a claim, they'd say they had every chance to do so beforehand, like Owen Benjamin's fans. They didn't. It's only after this they decide to do it. That's not fair to us. But I still think they might lose on the grounds that if I sign up to a site and I agree to terms, you can't arbitrarily send me an email saying the terms have changed and you agree to it.
Well, especially because Sargon got canceled with no, it was
no
just
warning.
In the middle of the night,
Yep.
You're done.
Yep.
Cut out.
All your income lost.
Yep.
And they had done this to other people like Lauren Southern. The important point is, again, not being a lawyer, I would personally question the legality of me signing up for a website and it says, do you agree to these terms? Yes. And then a month later getting an email that says, oh, by the way, the terms have all changed. You're on the hook to pay our fees. And if you use the website, you agree. No, I don't think that works. I don't think you can do that. I think you would need to have a new thing appear saying, hey, before you come in, here are the new terms. You must agree to these. I'm not sure exactly what Patreon did, but my understanding is they sent an email out saying, by the way, if you're still using the site after January 1st, you agree to these terms. And the judge was like, nah, get out of here with that. You can't do that. Nah. People signed up to these terms. Those are the terms you wrote. This one's on you. So here's what happens.
I like that judge.
You got all these Sargon fans, Milo, Lauren Southern. Now, I don't know if Lauren Southern's fans, will do it. They probably will. I don't know if Lauren Southern will care to be involved in something like this. She recently started making videos again, but I don't know if she's going to be as heavily culture war as she used to. I think Milo Yiannopoulos and all of his fans are going to just torpedo. It's going to be like open season. And I'm pretty sure Sargon's fans as well. This is the biggest opening in the culture war for a massive counter move against Silicon Valley big tech.
Let's do it.
Well, there's
Bring
no
it
let's.
on.
It's that they can do it.
Well, I mean, I can't either. But if this applies to you, call now. SJ&W lawyers will help hook you up. No,
they're Patreon's calling SJ&W.
No, I know.
I listened to this lawsuit. The case Patreon was arguing to the judge and Owen Benjamin's lawyers to the judge, and the judge right away was like, you're going to lose this. But he decided to consider some of the facts. Basically, what Patreon's lawyer said, I'm pretty sure they said it essentially verbatim. If you side with them, we will be forced to front millions of dollars.
They straight up said that?
Yeah.
But if you do that, we're going to have to pay for what we did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, hold on.
Throw the book at them.
To be fair, there is a sympathetic argument there of being like, we really, really screwed up. They probably don't have a claim, but our company will cease to exist if you side with them.
Get woke, go broke. Period.
And the judge said, precedent.
Did he say get woke, go broke?
No. The judge's stance is probably more like, I can sympathize with the fact your company's about to cease. It will no longer exist after this, but the law matters to more than just you. You made a mistake. Now you can live with it. I wonder what's going on right now at Patreon. They're probably all panicking.
Yeah,
I'll tell you this, man. I think the founder of Patreon, like Jack Dorsey, like Zuckerberg, these people are evil.
Yep.
I hate using that word, but I use it because they will look into your eyes and lie. Sweet, sweet lies all the time.
So the term sweet nothings?
They won't tell you the
literal
truth.
Nothings.
So Jack Conte is the CEO of Patreon, and he banned Lauren Southern. Lauren Southern was on a boat in the Mediterranean, and he said that she crossed the line when she said to get in front of some NGO rescue vessel. It's a long story. I talked to him on the phone, and I was in Vegas at the time, and I was tweeting about how I'm going to end my Patreon, and people didn't know how much money I was making on Patreon at the time because the numbers were private.
Okay.
And so people could only speculate based on the amount, but I had several thousand patrons. So I ended up talking to the CEO, and he told me a bunch of things that were just, in my opinion, not true.
Okay, like what?
Well, I'm not going to It's a private conversation, you know.
Oh, you tease.
I can't. I'm not.
No,
gonna,
that's fine. No, I get it.
if I go around, you know, spilling the details of every private conversation, I never have another conversation again.
I understand.
But he did basically say things about Lauren Southern's case, which I think I did talk about. That I was talking to him. I was like, you realize you literally described what he was like. If she did these things, we wouldn't have banned her. And I was like, that's literally what she did. Well, I mean, I'm like, nah. Listen, the problem is he banned Lauren without notice. There's
the same as Sargon. Okay.
Right. And so once he banned Lauren, he was like, she can appeal. But then everyone basically said, we're going to quit because we can't risk our income being terminated without notice.
Yeah.
And so he was like, from now on, we'll give warning. And then Sargon got erased overnight. And that's when there was a major revolt. Dave Rubin left. Jordan Peterson left. Sam Harris. Like, Sam Harris is one of the biggest podcasts in the world. And he was like, I'm out. I'm not going to play these games because if they decide to terminate my income, I can't take that risk. And now I got bad news for all of you who still use Patreon. I warned you. I did. I said it's only a matter of time before you face the brunt of what's happening here. Now, likely, you'll be banned. And I told a bunch of people, especially moderates, conservatives, and, you know, even not necessarily political channels that were like anti-SJW. And I said, you need to get off Patreon now. They have shown a complete willingness on more than one occasion to terminate the income of somebody without notice. And that's not fair because the agreement I have is with my patrons, not with Patreon. Why are they getting involved in politics?
Good point.
Well, guess what's going to happen now?
They going broke.
If this really is the end of Patreon, if Sargon, all of his thousands of patrons file arbitration claims and they have to front the bill, Lauren Southern and Milo, we're talking about if Cernovich is saying that 100+ claims is what they're facing, and he said in a live stream it could be $15 to $20 million because it's not just it's $2,500 to $10,000 up front for the cost of arbitration plus their own legal fees for their lawyers.
Oh, for their own, right.
He said it could be $15 to $20 million up front. Multiply 100 by 10.
And then if they lose...
Well, they might not lose. That's the issue.
Okay.
But the point is...
They still have to pay for the legal fees.
If 100 people will result in $15 million in costs, what will 3,000 people result in?
Yeah.
Patreon going bankrupt overnight. Now, here's the best part. Based on what we've seen from other big networks that act as intermediaries between creators and their money, I'd be willing to bet Patreon will steal the money, in my opinion, will take the money from their creators to cover the cost of legal fees. Otherwise, their company doesn't exist anymore. So I'll put it this way. Patreon makes very little money. They can show on their books ridiculous sums of money because when everyone donates, it goes to Patreon. Then Patreon has this massive bank account and then pays it all out and goes right back down. However, if all of the money comes in at once and Patreon is holding, $100 million, they have to pay out $99 million, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's money supposed to go to the creators from their fans. But Patreon's facing this major lawsuit. They're holding the money. First, they're going to pay their legal fees. All of that money they're holding will disappear, and then they'll tell the fans, sorry. It happened before.
That sounds so brutal. Oh, it happened already somewhere?
There was a
Patreon?
No.
Oh, okay.
A multi-channel network. These are big companies where YouTubers will sign up and YouTube AdSense goes to the company first and then to you. One of these companies went out of business. And so when all the money from YouTube went to their company and they filed and they declared like bankruptcy or whatever, I don't remember what they did, but they were shutting down. None of the YouTubers got their money because the money was the company's.
Yeah.
And the company considered the money owed to the creators as liabilities that they could not pay out. So they used the YouTubers' money to pay their salaries. And I believe, in the best of my, I'm very careful. We're dealing with legal matters.
Pretty bold, yeah.
So in my understanding of the case, and I could be wrong about this, so fact check, was that they took the money to cover their own losses. Yeah. And then all the YouTubers were like, yo, where's our money? It's gone. So what do you think Patreon's going to do when they're faced with something similar? They're going to need to find very quickly right now, $15 million, which I doubt they have.
Who knows?
That maybe, but I doubt it. Maybe they'll find some venture capitalists to try and save them or buy them. And they're going to have to cover the cost of all of this. Nah, I don't think it's possible.
I think they're going under, man.
I don't know, man. It does
the
seem...
dominoes are starting to crumble for the get woke, go broke.
It seems too good to be true, though.
True.
That Patreon would collapse because of this.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you right now, Patreon lost.
They did.
They're going to have to front the legal fees. And here's the best part.
That judge, props to that judge, flicked the first domino down.
Well, he's just upholding the law.
Exactly.
So here's the thing. Don't get your hopes up. Other people have pointed out that it's going to be a big waste of money for everyone involved to file against Patreon.
Right.
And then, it's you've always got to take these things with a grain of salt, because I'm sure there's going to be some lefty lawyer who's going to argue why Patreon will be fine. But here's my assessment. Based on Patreon's own lawyer saying to the judge, if we lose, we will be on the hook for millions of dollars, and them losing, I would bet that Cernovich is right.
I think so too.
He's a lawyer too, so I'll defer to him. But I heard the Patreon lawyer say it. We will have to front millions of dollars if we lose this.
That's a lot of dollars.
So the Patreon was trying to argue that this was an attack against them, that Owen Benjamin's fans knew that if they filed because of this law, it would force California would force them to pay the costs.
Oh, you mean hold them accountable for what they illegally did against their own terms of service?
Well, now
by booting these people.
I don't know about illegally, because they could boot whoever they want.
Okay.
The issue is so it's like these people want their $20 back. And so they're going to arbitration over it, demanding it, and that means they have to
give me my $20 back that I gave to Owen Benjamin.
And then you severed the contract, and now where's my my goods aren't going to come, right?
I see. Yeah.
Apparently, there's another big factor here in that by changing the terms of service to try and prevent these suits, it was...
See, now that's dirty.
Right. May have been illegal. I'm not sure. Again, not a lawyer. But Cernovich had a live stream about this where he said it was unconscionable or something, like it's a legal term.
Yeah, okay.
I can't remember exactly what he said.
Dirty. That's the lawyer talk for it was dirty.
Trying to trick people into thinking they don't have a way to take, legal action against you.
Right.
We'll see what Sargon, Lauren, and Milo do.
Yeah.
But more importantly, it doesn't matter what they do. It matters what all of the patrons who canceled their accounts last year do.
Yep.
Because if they all decide, I want my money back because I spent money and didn't get what I wanted because Patreon did this, Patreon owes me that money back.
And Patreon's footing the bill. So if you're one of those people, I mean, why? If I was one of those people and I gave money to Sargon, and
you still have to file the claims though, which might cost money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so apparently only 100 or so people from Owen Benjamin's fan base did this. I don't know a lot about the guy. I know that people are going to try and claim I'm defending him. I don't know who he is. Okay.
Owen Benjamin?
Yeah, apparently he's like an offensive comedian or something.
I don't know who he is.
Daily Dot called him alt-right. I don't know anything about the guy. I have to be careful because the media likes to lie a lot, but that's what they've said. The point is, how many people would be bored enough to actually do it? I'd be willing to bet enough.
I was just going to say, there's not a lot of jobs right now. A lot of people are stuck at home doing nothing.
Well, you know what the crazy thing is?
What?
Based on everything I've heard about this, I do believe it may sound too good to be true, because even if you're going to lose in arbitration, you can still force them to front the costs.
That's a good point.
So what if you know you're going to lose? That's another thing that Patreon's lawyers argued, that these people know once it goes to arbitration, they have no case, but they still have to pay the fees up front. So could anybody just file a claim, and even if they have no case? I guess there's got to be some kind of standing.
Yeah, I mean, I can't do it.
Right. No, but I mean,
I've
like,
never been on Patreon, so.
What about all of my patrons? What about me personally?
Yeah.
I lost a bunch of patrons because they started when they banned Lauren, people got mad. When they banned Sargon, people got mad. But then once Sam Harris left, and Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson, banning Sargon lost me patrons because Sargon and I have some subscriber overlap.
Okay.
But then once it was Sam Harris, Jordan Peterson, and Dave Rubin, all of a sudden I ended up losing like a massive portion of my patrons. And I had no choice but to set up alternatives like, hey, wait, go here, I'll be here. I know you guys want to leave Patreon. So I ended up losing a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, so is Patreon on the hook for that? Arguably no, but those people who canceled from my account and from other accounts because of this, maybe. I wouldn't know. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify, and we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.